Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, it happened. You saw it. The Yankees beat a quote-unquote good team on the road, taking 2 out of 3 against the Houston Astros after hearing for weeks and weeks and weeks that the Yankees can only beat up on the lousy teams like the Nationals and White Sox. They're just a big bully, all that. Well, the Yankees go on road, beat the Houston Astros, the nemesis. Okay, yeah, they're not the maybe Astros of 6-7 years ago, but still, nevertheless, a good team, a solid team that's also in the playoff hunt as well. Yankees taking 2 out of 3 there. Where really 2 of the games almost laughters. I know the final game got a little bit of a nail biter there. You look 8-4 with a nail biter. Yeah, end of the game with bases loaded, but nevertheless, Yankees coming out on top there. And again, a very satisfying series and enter a crucial series at home against the Toronto Blue Jays where the Yankees are 3 games back. So we'll look at the Houston series, kind of the highs and lows, and point out some things there. And Devin Williams does it again for the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees another loss. I don't know why you're putting this guy in the late inning games. How many times I got to say this? But enough, I'll have to repeat it again. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast. We have your favorite podcast. And also go to YouTube. Search for Section 420 Talkin Yankees on YouTube. Just dropped an episode a couple days ago. Kind of mentioned that, we shouldn't be shocked that the Yankees are on a little bit of an uptick swing right now because, as we all mentioned, the schedule was going to get a little easier. I know we got a couple tough series mixed in there, like Houston and Toronto. But overall, facing the Nationals, facing the White Sox, and then to end off the season, some easy schedules against the Twins, the White Sox, and Baltimore as well there. So it was a very hopeful YouTube episode, so make sure you check that out as well. So going to the Houston series there, you figure, all right, the Yankees kind of had these relaxed series. They won 7 games in a row against the Nationals and the White Sox there. And you figure, all right, now they're going to face a real team and get cremated. Well, it did not happen. Come out smoking in the first game, an 8-1. Pretty easy victory for the Yankees, where the Yankees just did the Bronx Bombers thing there. Quietly to see Jazz approaching the 30-30 status there. Just, you just don't think about it, but you think about his speed and his power all day. You figure a guy like that will always be in the running there. So, he's climbing that wall. And you just see a lot of guys in this Yankees team overall, whether it's Wells, a lot of the lefty hitters, Trent Grisham, really coming on hot right now. And this is, you kind of like the way you feel about this team. I don't get too ahead of myself. This coming the next couple of weeks, a lot of guys are really starting to look like they're dialed in after they've been lost a little bit. But again, Yankees coming away with a bit of a laugher there in the first game, 8-1. But I guess the most controversial game, because the game that you lose was the middle game there, where they took an 8-7 loss, where of course Devin Williams strikes again. Now the Yankees did get out an early 3-0 lead in this game. The home runs are early on by Trent Grisham, as well as Giancarlo Stanton, who absolutely just crushed the ball. And Stanton, just right now, I know he's a little bit limited playing time. I know they got him in the outfield a little bit, but just a small sample size. This might be the best ever we've seen of Stanton. You might look back at the last year's postseason run there as well, but just right now overall, even though he missed almost the first half of the season, just look what he's doing right now. Just pretty much anytime he makes contact, he's just been crushing the ball. 6-7 seasons he's been there. This is probably as good as and locked in as he seems. Now the Yankees got out the early 3-0 lead there, but unfortunately this game would come down to the 8th inning. We tied 4-4, and that guy again, Devin Williams, and I've preached this a million times. If it's after the 6th inning, you cannot have this guy in the game. He just can't handle it. I know sometimes he has some flashes where he looks good again. He's like, oh yeah, and you want to believe, and he gets sucked in again, and then he only lets you down. A couple of hits and a couple of walks there, but ends up walking in what would become the winning run there, and then Boone having to go to Duvall, who he's actually hasn't been so spectacular himself there, and ended up surrendering a big hit himself there to blow the game open. Now Cody Bellinger with a big 3-run home run in the 9th inning, inched the Yankees close to 8-7 there. We think maybe Kevin Miraculous come back, but unfortunately Jazz striking out to end the game there, and of course drawing a little bit the home plate umpire, who really got all the stories, of course, saying that his umpire was squeezing the Yankees, and specifically in that 8th inning with Devin Williams, both Williams and Boone didn't get thrown out there, arguing over the balls and strikes. You want to blame the umpire there, but look, we've been sending Devin Williams this whole season. Did that happen? Yes or no? Like that, but this guy's just been terrible in these late inning games. Even just a couple of weeks ago at Yankee Stadium, you put him into a tied game, ended up giving a go-ahead home run. It's just, you cannot put this guy in after the 6th inning. I don't know how many times you say this. And they had Doval available, and they had to bring him in, of course, when Williams got yanked out there. But if he was available for the 8th inning, why not just start him in the 8th inning? Start clean. You can't trust Devin Williams. So this is yet another loss handed over, courtesy of Devin Williams. Maybe we'll go back and count them all up. This guy be like the 8th and 9th game, maybe a 10th game alone that this guy's cost the Yankees just by himself there. And this was yet another one. And the only reason you don't feel too terrible about that is that the Yankees bounce back, take the second game 8-4. Which again was a lot closer than I thought there. Now Carlos Rodon got the start for the Yankees, held the fort down, got his 16th win, which right now leads the American League for starters. But they get a little dicey there in the 9th inning. But David Bednar who sometimes he would a little bit, but he doesn't seem to buckle under pressure, even though he came from Pittsburgh, which is not really a high-pressured place there, but didn't crumble. Able to get a huge strikeout of Carlos Correa with the bases loaded. I know it's maybe not the same Carlos Correa of 5-6 years ago, but still a Yankee nemesis. And, of course, getting Walker also to strike out to end the game there. So he doesn't get the save because he came into the game with an 8-3 lead there, but fought off what could have been a disastrous if to have two bullpen meltdowns 2 days in a row would have been terrible just right now because the Yankees are kind of on a good vibe mode a little bit. They got good things going in a good way there. So you wouldn't want to take two brutal losses like that. And David Bednar able to hold it on there. And the Yankees hold on for the 8-4 win. Again, yet another home run in this game by Wells. Now, the home run he hit to left field there, I guess it turns out that park is the only park right now in the majors that would allow that home run from that distance there. So people want to complain about Yankee Stadium and the short porch in right field where, well, that was kind of a cheapie there in left field in Houston, but you don't even hear that. But nevertheless, the Yankees take the win there, 8-4, and as I mentioned before, beat a good team on the road. Beat a couple of starters that have actually played the Yankees in the past, and I know Javier is coming back a little bit from an injury that hasn't played a full season, but these are some of these guys that have plagued the Yankees. And again, it all made it very interesting in the middle game there, where maybe they could have had a little bit of a miraculous comeback. Maybe if they could have left that inning tied 4-4 there, maybe the Yankees could have gone ahead and swept the series there. But nevertheless, it's like the way again a lot of these Yankees hitters are going right now. I know there's still the usual enigmas, of course, of Anthony Volpe to still frustrates you hitting around 208 right now. But a lot of guys on the upswing, even Ryan McMahon, who's really been forgotten about since he's come here since the trade deadline. No, just because I think a lot of the focus has been on some of the pitchers, Devin Williams, of course, there, and maybe Stanton being hot, and Judge, is his elbow hurt? Is his elbow not hurt? But so like Ryan McMahon has kind of really gone to the radar there, but he actually came alive a little bit. Big hit as well as a home run in this game. He's up to 243, which you figure, well, 240 is like great. But when the Yankees kind of first came to the scene here, he was only hitting like 219 there. So the guy's upped his batting average about 20-something points there, which, at least something to say, and at least overall reliable defensively. So again, he's yet another guy heating up. So really, it's going up and down this line. But look at Trent Grisham. Seems like he leads off every game now with a home run. Aaron Judge, who, got to say, honestly, for Aaron Judge, he hasn't been spectacular. I mean, he's still Judge, but again, you could definitely see he's not really 100% there. But even when he gives it, he's okay. I mean, we see him went a little crazy with the home run ball there in Chicago. That was great, but it hasn't really translated over into Houston. But again, even without Aaron Judge being, the typical Aaron Judge, still his team, the offense seems to be clicking right now. Cody Bellinger's looking really good. Colin Stanton, as I mentioned before, getting, even though he's limited in certain ways there, even though they could play him in the field a little bit, getting the most out of his opportunities, hitting probably the biggest home run you could think of there. I know that ballpark's small, a bit of a bandbox there, but almost like it hit the window there. Just so he looks like he's locked in. Wells finally turning on after the summer. He was brutal, and I'm not saying he's back there. He's okay. I mean, he's still a little bit better than a 200 hitter though, but at least he's seen with the home run ball over the past week or so. Ben Rice maybe cooled down a little bit, but still he was launching some balls as well there in Chicago. Jazz, I'm getting worried about now these contusions on his knee there, but he's going to at least try to play the opening game against the Jays. If not, he should at least be in that series, but he's swinging a hot bat. So really all up and down this lineup. The only guys that are really hot would be Anthony Volpe, you say, which again, but he's not really killing you, so it's not, to the point there where, and I know a lot of fans want to put Caballero in there, and maybe overall that might be the better decision. Maybe once they get to the postseason, maybe they'll just have to do that, just maybe to give themselves the best defense possible. And of course, I mentioned before, Ryan McMahon also seemed like he's turning on a little bit. So you got like 7 or 8 guys that really seem like they're locked in with the home run ball. Also does not discount the fact that in that first game, Max Fried, he's kind of rounding back into the shape he was before the All-Star break. A strong outing there in Houston on the road again, but this is kind of been waiting for Max Fried. Struggling a lot there, and again, I kind of mentioned this also in the YouTube episode. Kind of as Max Fried goes, the Yankees go, and when we saw Max Fried struggle in the middle of summer, as did the Yankees there, because he used to be that guy who used to put an automatic W in there. Now you got 3 really good quality starts in a row, and probably his best test in a while there on the road in Houston, looking like the Max Fried during April and May. And if that's the case there, seems like maybe if he's on the upswing as well, that's all good for the Yankees. The only guy you got to be concerned about is the bullpen. Even though you have some good guys you usually count on, such as Bednar, Weaver, we know what he could do there. Tim Hill, pretty solid there, lefty, and then again, Yarbrough also now another lefty option. But you have someone like, for example, Duvall. You see good parts of it, bad points of it. It's like you're still not sure about this guy yet. Obviously, we know the basket case that Devin Williams is. I don't know where you hide this guy in after the 6th inning there. But overall, that being said, it is a solid Yankee bullpen. But they can sort of just get a better working formula. Bednar is definitely going to be the closer. He's got to be closing the games there, because right now, just overall, everyone available, he's showing you the most mettle, the most toughness. Even if he's not perfect all the time there. Of all of them, right now I trust him more. I trust him more right now even more than Luke Weaver, even though Luke Weaver is quote-unquote kind of like the home guy a little bit since he's been here a little bit longer. But I trust Bednar more right now to close out a game than Luke Weaver. But still, maybe go Duvall, Weaver, and Bednar. That's your formula to close out these games, and just kind of figure, can kind of iron that out and have it so like scientific where these guys just come out and don't even think about it and just throw zeros up on the last 3 innings of the game there. That's a big help for the Yankees, but of course we also know the other problem is with the errors still. There's still a lot of problems with errors. You can't really trust the defense. Even the game they won 8-4, still had 3 errors in the game. And I mentioned before, Duvall also with a balk the other night. Just, little things like that you can't be doing there. So 2 things are going to hurt this Yankees. One thing I think overall it's going to be is probably either something in the bullpen or just defensive errors. So if they could clean that up, and I don't say the bullpen's a problem there. I just think they have good guys. I just think they got to line it up where they know who's who goes in where, and then have that kind of really systematic. Kind of like back in the day with where it was Stanton, Nelson, Rivera, or sometimes Graham Lloyd, Nelson, Stanton, Rivera, whatever that formula is that just worked and you didn't have to think about it. It became like automatic. If they could just figure that out, all more the better. But again, some problem defensively though, still kicking the ball around there. It's not there's not a fundamentally defensive, goodly sound team. That could cost the Yankees, and we saw how it cost them, especially in the World Series against the Dodgers. I know some different faces in there, but again, we have a good fundamental team like the Dodgers there. They take advantage of that. They put the ball in play, they chop it around, then you got a bad weak infield, or if you don't do the fundamentals right, covering first base like Garrett Cole there, the team like that's going to take advantage of you. So I don't know if the Yankees can clean that up. There's about like 3 or 4 weeks left in the season there, but that's something to be worried about. Other than that, right now the offense is really looking good, and this is the time you want because again you have the stretch run there, and again the starting rotation overall has been pretty darn good. Not perfect, they were pretty darn good, and it looked like Max Fried's on the upswing. Rodon's pretty steady there. Now, Cam Schlittler kind of looked at both him and Luis Gil, but mainly Schlittler has been really good in his 9 starts here with the Yankees there. He's going to get the ball to open up against his Toronto series. Then he'll go to Luis Gil, and then to close out, the guy you would want to be closing out because it'll probably be a rubber match is, again, Max Fried there. Again, seems like he's also pitching. He's in a good groove right now there, so that's the guy you want. I don't think the Yankees are going to sweep Toronto. I don't think Toronto's going to sweep the Yankees, but if you're the Yankees, you could take 2 out of 3 there and inch your way back in. As the Yankees stand right now 3 games back in the AL East. Plenty of games to go to catch them there, but if you could take 2 out of 3 here, that really puts you in a good position there because after that, you do have the Detroit series looming. You do have a Boston series. But after that, again, the schedule gets really favorable for the Yankees. You got 13 games against teams like the Twins, who are just done for the year. White Sox, who are done for the year. Baltimore is done for the year. So, the Yankees really load up. So if it could just maybe be tied with Toronto, or just be 1 game back there, some kind of going through that final 2 weeks of the season there, Yankees got a good chance, again, recapture the AL East. So overall, I'll say good things for the Yankees right now. I mean, if you want to compare, they were a couple weeks ago where it just looked like the world was ending. Not the case there. Again, let's say they've solved all the problems. You still have the Volpe enigma, who's up to 70 RBIs. For all his problems, he's up to 70 RBIs. But, of course, we know all the errors and other problems he brings to the table. And kind of it been bugging the Yankees. So you want to take the Volpe problems. Overall, their defense is not great at all. They're still committing errors, still kicking the ball around a little bit. But if those are other problems. But other than that, a lot of good things for the Yankees. The offense is clicking. Starting rotation to be stable. Bullpen, I think they got the guys there. They just got to find the formula of who gets what inning there. And the Yankees look to be really good shape. You feel much better about yourself than he did, again, after that Boston series where everyone just wanted to give up on this team and turn the page to football there. So not so fast. We'll catch you next time.